What's up, BST? Today we're going to take a little bit of a deeper look into, let's just say hip flexibility, hip mobility. Talk about some things that maybe get missed. So this is a little bit deeper than maybe some people want to go into. So if you're really not concerned with the why behind the what, don't bother watching this. But I do want to kind of show you why it's important to have flexible hips. So this is one of my students, and we were doing something called a Thomas test. I'm not going to explain the Thomas test in detail today. What I want to point out is that, whoa. Oh, here we go, iPhone. There we go. What I want to point out is that he's lying flat, and we should have a straight line through his spine all the way to his knee, and then his leg should be hanging down. And as you can see here, what we're getting more is, at rest, his knee is up in the air. So you can actually see right in here, you know, we have that little, there's some daylight between his leg and the table. So what this means is that we'll just say his true hip flexors are tight. So what do I mean by true hip flexors? I'm going to move this forward a little bit. This is the, I'm going to say the hip flexors. You have here, this is just the iliacus isolated, and here's the, we'll just say that's the psoas major, and then those, you know, we'll say are the hip flexors that people usually talk about. There's two of them, and together they're called the iliopsoas. You know, they connect here right in the femur. It's called the lesser trochanter. And basically, when those are tight, you're going to get, you know, lumbar problems. We'll call it lower cross syndrome, back pain, tight hips. Runners can even get a iliopsoas tendinitis, which is inflammation of the tendon down here. Just bad news. So the first thing we're going to look at when we go back is, okay, we want to try to just get those stretched out. So we'll do what's called a true hip stretch. And I made a whole video on the couch stretch where I address how to really attack both of these. But what I'm going to do with this guy here is I'm going to do something called PNF stretching, and then after I go through a few bouts of PNF stretching with him, the next picture I took is after just, I think it was 2 or 3 PNF stretches. All of a sudden you can see that those hip flexors have calmed down. They're allowing the leg to sit flat. So all of a sudden his knee has now completely dropped. So good for him. His hips are open, kind of. The other thing is, you can see where his leg is hanging. His leg is hanging here at an angle. Really, if he was completely relaxed, if his muscles are able to lengthen as much as we want, he should be at 90 degrees here. His leg should just be hanging nice and flat. And the reason why he can't do that is not only do we have hip flexors that keep us tight, but one of our quad muscles acts as a hip flexor. So it's a biarticulate muscle. If that muscle is tight, it doesn't really matter how flexible your hips are. If you have tight quads, then you have tight hips. So what that muscle looks like, just to go forward, as you can see here, here's all the quads. The one I highlighted is called the rectus femoris. And it's a little bit different than the other quads in that it attaches, we'll just say, at the tibial tuberosity, we'll say on the tibia. But it doesn't connect. The other quads is sort of, they all connect on the femur. This one is different in that it actually connects all the way up on the hip. So it's a hip flexor. So that's why when you're doing a ton of sit-ups, people go, oh, I'm feeling this more in my thighs than anywhere else. Well, your hip flexors are going crazy, and your quads, or your quad, I say singular, quad is one of them. So the next thing we did is we did a little bit of PNF on his rectus femoris, we'll just say on his quads. And if we look at the very last picture, all of a sudden we go, okay, now he went from his knee being elevated, his knee dropped, which is good, and on top of that, look at this, nice 90-degree angle. So this is a great example of the Thomas test and how we can use it to really open up all hip flexing muscles, and this is great for alleviation of, you know, we'll just say back pain, knee pain. If these muscles are all tight, remember they're going to be pulling your patella. They're almost going to be grinding it onto its, you know, its sliding surface rather than letting it floating. So this is really what you should look like if your muscles are allowed to be in their normal resting position. And again, just to show you, you know, from start to finish, this is where we started. This is where we ended, and that's a tremendous difference. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, this is a little bit more complex than some of the other things that I've put up, but I like to know why certain things happen, and you know what is the true cause for certain things. I mean, so often we get caught up in, well, my knee hurts, so I'm going to take a Tylenol. Well, maybe your knee hurts because, you know, we'll just say muscles above and below are tight, or there's something that's not symmetrical or imbalanced, or usually the problem, if you're feeling acute pain in a joint, you know, unless like someone like hit you in the knee with a baseball bat, usually if you're just feeling sort of chronic pain, that usually is going to stem from somewhere above or below in some part of the chain. So give it a watch. This is a the first of many nerd videos that I'll post out. If you're a kinesio nerd like I think I am, this is kind of fun stuff. So enjoy, and I'll have some more nerd videos coming out soon.